This message comes from our 2022 lead sponsor of NPR Music, State Farm. To celebrate their surprisingly great rates, State Farm invites you to discover a surprisingly great genre that's sure to excite any listening party fan, Party Schlager. If you thought the name Party Schlager couldn't sound more German, just wait till you hear the beat. You can find this German staple in clubs all across Deutschland and in search engines everywhere. Now that you've discovered this new genre, take a minute to discover State Farm's surprisingly great rates. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
All right, welcome everybody, and thanks for joining our live listening party for Saba's Few Good Things. I'm Rodney Carmichael, host for NPR Music's Louder Than A Riot, and man, I'm really excited to be here with Saba and daedaePIVOT and Daoud, producers. How y'all doing?
Man, I'm wonderful, man. Cannot complain whatsoever. Happy to finally, have the relief that you get when you drop a project like this. So,
no doubt. Yeah, a project like this indeed. Because this is a hell of a project, man. I
appreciate it. Thank you.
So everybody is about to listen to it now. We're gonna have a nice stream of the entire album, and we'll come back after that and dive into what you heard and chat about it. What do you think? Is there anything that you want to say to kind of prepare people for what they're about to hear? First time.
Not at all. Not at all. I like to go into things blind and just let people decide for themselves how they feel about something.
No doubt.
I think it's a lot of different sounds, a lot of different stuff on there. So, I just want them to hear it, and then we can talk. Then they can see what I think.
No doubt. Well, I feel the same way. It's definitely been a pleasure spending some time with this album, and my first listen, it blew me away. So without further ado, let's get into it. You can join us in the chat, ask questions, shout out your favorite songs. We'll respond back as we can. But let's check it out. A Few Good Things.
In a day since the get to see now, I think it's time for me to play. My running days rhythm moving to me now. I won't stop until I find a way home. The summer's gaze gives me tingling ease now. Anticipate a veil of shade, but the shade is a gift from the tree now. I won't stop until I see the change I have made.
Damn, it's been a while since nights we saw you under the fire. Duck if it's fire, run. To everybody that look like us, who fam don't talk, they tired. There's more than what meets your eyelids. And living apart, just dying, make you forget what you fight about. Plus, what good is that flight? You ain't flying out your entire house. From Camry cars to the fancy all without any thought. Kids in the train car, hustling candy bars to play basketball. I still get nostalgic seeing houses that my family lost. They wished upon a star. I called it like I'm Randy Moss. When Granny fought for her property, she would turn down any cost. I'm the grandson of Carl, who lived across from the Fosters, then fostered me to spread love through holiday poverty. Hand-me-downs I was given, I thought they were bought for me. A teller to Chicago's, this gets confused commonly. Cause when you're commemorated, if you're the hot commodity. I tried that invincible shit, but the principle is when it's niggas defending your wig, then it's a pendulum shift. I tried to spin a little less like a minimalist, but then I could confess that this gets harder the bigger you get. Want the peace but don't wanna die. It's a one-way street though. It's a round trip when we fly. Never one way. New crib by the seaside. On a one-way street though. It's the million ways to get by. Never one way. Need $1 million after taxes, I might spend this shit on fashion. All this fashion make me stronger, feel like Tony in the mansion. My baby mama looking like she could've won a pageant. I'm not vegan, we been eating, kick my feet up and get fatter. Sit all day and I play Madden in my mattress, California. My address, California, when I came from my controller. I'm like, fuck it, buy another, it ain't nothing, I got money. We all splurging on this dumb shit cause we careless and we youngins. Every nigga with a budget, taking care, at least in buddies. What you need, you know I cover. It's a one-way street though. It's a round trip when we fly. Never one way. New crib by the seaside. On a one-way street though. It's a million ways to get by. Never one way. I'ma order pasta that I cannot properly pronounce. Keep my doors open in case a nigga pop up on my couch. Went from couldn't afford it to a nigga cop it without counting. All my checks been voided since a nigga got me in accounting. Sent my mama a quick 1,000 and we crashed some open houses. All the rappers in Tarzana in the valley, Calabasas. All my niggas wanna crash it and my women friends is ratchet. All the neighbors looking at us, looking different than their family. A black man with the baggies, so my people in my patty know I got it if you ask me. It's a one-way street though. It's a round trip when we fly. Never one way. New crib by the seaside. On a one-way street though. It's a million ways to get by. Never one way.
Tell a story about.
Even in the wintertime, they identifying all these niggas dying. Ain't no breaking time for the bacon swine. It's a peace of mind worth leaving everything you knew behind. Move another time and hope the trauma don't amount to what you do in life. Cause some people didn't make it doing life. Yeah, my people need vacation on an island. All the people say we made it sort of line. I got no alliance to no corporate bias. Raise the mortgage high, I'ma stand my ground like a fucking squatter. My father told me that the world was mine and I believed him. My mama said I was a heathen. My grandma was the one to feed us. I'm the one to pay my sister tuition. I should probably go to the meetings. My grandpa smiling with no teeth in. My cousin's still supposed to be. Ay. Raised below poverty. Now I keep it sacred geometry. I'm on my circle, I'm training for mayhem. But y'all I'm a trade cause I saw silly niggas then change up. I'm still on my square like a plaintiff. Be careful, they armed and they dangerous for diamonds. Some niggas is spiraling. They want us in boxes but can't contain us. Oh my god, I'm trying to move better. What's really eating when you from a food desert? I see the newsletters, can't listen to them, they be moving too careless. This album's confessions of a man moving quick. When did he regret it? Once I make a band and get rich. Right in the dough, another day in the gold. I can't take. Once I make a band and get rich. Like the snake through your cold. It's the same as before. If they hate, once I make a band and get rich. Right in the dough, another day in the gold. I can't take. Once I make a band and get rich. Like the snake through your cold. It's the same as before. If they hate, once I make a band and get rich. Even in the summertime, it be mothers crying, talking out of line, you get undermined. There's some real niggas here that wanna die. No stopping, make as much as you can, it ain't no option. I'm all across the land, I'm a globe trotter. Cause I left the fam on my old block, and now I got no choice but to go harder. I plotted on everything, said I'ma kill everything. Survivor's guilt rhetoric, I could've been a beat, but that thinking deadly. We facing the pressure of family that we watch suffer. I gotta live from up out of the gutter. I make a check and send that to my mother. They root for me like Ireland and Conor McGregor. Loaded up the van, some of them didn't fit. I got you next time we do this again. Don't trip. Had 0 to my name, so did the gang. I was with. Said once we make 10 bands, we'll be rich. Right in the dough, another day in the gold. I can't take. Once I make a band and get rich. Like the snake through your cold. It's the same as before. If they hate, once I make a band and get rich. Right in the dough, another day in the gold. I can't take. Once I make a band and get rich. Like the snake through your cold. It's the same as before. If they hate,
and I'm still on savage shit like 21. Having shit, names and sacks, I'm grabbing it. Walk in, spend 20K on the average. Real nigga straight off that block with the meals. Used to be broke on my partners on pills. 40 shots ring through the block, I couldn't hear. Spinning guap, now I got rocks in my ears. Stack it up, put up a lot for the kids. Sometimes you see, but that's not what it is. And when you see me, just acknowledge the G. I'm on top of my shit, cause I handle my biz. Stay on the grind, had to plot for some years. Ain't had no fear, I wasn't dropping no tears. Me and my old self, we swapping careers. I'm really lit, but I ride with a glizz. I can't break a sweat, gas up the jet. And dip. Rain and you get wet, I'm strapped, just check my hip. All this VVS in these baguettes, it costs a grip. I can tell she wet, she tryna sex me with her lips swerve.
My mother say, how would you like to come to Chicago and work for me? And if you don't like it, I'll send you train fare to come back.
Chillin' on the west side, everything was perfect back in 2012. Before a record hit the surface, had a few girl I was juggling. I ain't never did the circus. Had a phone by Motorola, but the bill was out of service. My cargo in and out like you tryna resuscitate it. We on the way, but only 50-50 chance we make it. Ay, we never say goodbye, don't see you around, don't see you later. Ay, it's Chicago, when you live, say we safe. Yeah.
About time, I think it's about time. Back then, waiting to bye-bye. Now I turn to spend my time. I think about us chillin' on the, yeah, everything was perfect. All the small things about being broke, I never got to notice. I took everything for granted when the moment was slow motion. Got into a fender bender, whip so broken it was total. Now this sound like I don't appreciate what they pay me, but all the days in the basement we trying to recreate it. Was I in a freaky lady from my high school, now she on. She looking at how it glow, 50-50 till she gone.
Chillin' on the west side, everything was perfect back in 2012. Before a record hit the surface, had a few girl I was juggling. I ain't never did the circus. Had a phone by Motorola, but
Blink, motherfucker!
my cargo in and out like you tryna resuscitate it. Ay, we on the way, but only 50-50 chance we make it. Ay, we never say goodbye, don't see you around, don't see you later. Ay, it's Chicago.
Chicago, nigga!
Okay, the money on the way, it'll lay by the first. Adolescence, I would curse on the way to the church. My career just turned a curse of how I connect the words. I ain't grow up with much of shit, but still it could've been worse. He ain't focused on the pants, he won't get in a purse. I need it all in advance if they book me to work. From we barely had a chance, left the crib on alert. To a crib with alarms and security perks. And security hurts, the same way jury works. So if you paying the flex, pay your security first. No point in paying for whips, to write a funeral hearse. We be prepared for the best, but also fearing the worst. Okay, every nigga that I know is scared of going broke. I know if I fall back down, ain't no one there to lend me rope. Okay, and every nigga that I know takes care of so-and-so. So ain't no option. You best go make more. Cause feel hunger, feel monsters. I feel hunger, but guess I feel something. I need something to eat. Feel hunger, feel monsters. I feel hunger, but guess I feel something. I need something to eat. And scared money never made money, what I was taught. But once you made money, you be more afraid than the saw. My grandfather drove a Corvette convertible car. He passed away and left his will to the fate of the stars. I made it cool, off of saying the bar. I was scared to spend it down, like what if I die tomorrow? Will my fam intervene for a bag of the G's in a black Model 3? Sheesh, passenger seat. Will my fans leave if I can't put asses in seats? If I log out an app or I lack a retweet, I'm just scared to go back. Didn't have shit to eat. Have my bread go to taxes, the actual thief. Okay, every nigga that I know is scared of going broke. I know if I fall back down, ain't no one there to lend me rope. Okay, and every nigga that I know takes care of so-and-so. So ain't no option. You best go make more. Cause feel hunger, feel monsters. I feel hunger, but I guess I feel something. I need something to eat. Feel hunger, feel monsters. I feel hunger, but I guess I feel something. I need something to eat. Daydream thinking that I get some more. And it won't good. And it won't good. And it won't be good. All those thinking that I get some more. And it won't good. And it won't good. And it won't be good. Daydream thinking that I get some more. And it won't good. And it won't good. And it won't be good. All those thinking that I get some more. And it won't good. And it won't good. Yeah, this sound like two sides from Madison Ave. Students acting bad up in the class. Drop out with family or ass. Lie like you plan on going back. Hey, we ain't got no time to relax. Word only priority intact. Posted on the porch shooting shit. Had to run them niggas shooting shit. I wish that the guys had shield. Stop lights, clean the windshield. Fiends would do it free for a feel. Had the same friends since I was little. Used to hoop Poppy and Jaleel. Spooky bent the block and dropped the tape. Talk to Walton, watch them fly away. Multiply my problems by the day. But side chillin' with a fake phone. Knocking out the pocket like the bitch low. I'ma get it blowing like a metro. Me, I'm getting to it how I'm metro. Blood me the vessel, I'm telling to be careful. Cause I cop it when they kill him. And finally in the ghetto from the bottom of the barrel. I'ma run it like a fair nigga. This is for the presence. We'll be worried about the best off. Daydream thinking that I get some more. And it won't good. And it won't good. And it won't be good. All those thinking that I get some more. And it won't good. And it won't good. And it won't be good. Daydream thinking that I get some more. And it won't good. All the things that I get some more. And it won't good. And it won't good. And it won't good.
Crazy Jack love grounded halls, so really I'll be fine. Shining ball until the end of my time. Stuck in my prime, I'm always at my best. Sick of the mind, go all day, never rest. Keep it alive, the flow got 'em in check. Me and mine, you niggas gotta respect. Leave the time for me, nigga don't exist. I seek to find my peace, so a nigga drift sometime. Never no worry for me, cause I'm knowing that I'm truly blessed. Caution my steps. If I see majority go to the right, I walk to the left. Ayy, truly innovative. Even niggas, they be hating, they be motivated. Cause I'm so creative, motivator. And the suckers we can never relate to. Trust no faker, shaking these snakes. Ain't no haters making me wait. All I gotta say is they gon' see me shine. They gon' have to bow the crate. Or don't come around my way. Boom, did it in, yep, we go overtime.
Daydream thinking that I get some more. And it won't good. And it won't good. And it won't be good. All those thinking that I get some more. And it won't good. And it won't good. And it won't be good. Daydream thinking that I get some more. And it won't good. And it won't good. And it won't be good. All those thinking that I get some more. And it won't good. And it won't good. And it won't be good.
Still missing my lady, still smoking like crazy. Still can't believe this is all real. Still spinning per diem, still loving these hoes. Still don't really need them all. Still, my life is like a film, set in a different realm. I'm still trying to decide how I feel. I'm still rough as a rider, still right here beside you. Still trying to find a beat.
Say I gotta be still, yeah, I gotta be still. Pay cards right, cause on life going right, then they might wanna redeal. I say I wanna be here, but I got moves to make. There's so many people working for me nowadays that I don't even know who I pay. Okay, I'm still right here beside you, getting sick of the costume. It's the real world, when you with me, you take off your cool. Admittedly, yeah, I do too. I know I'm more elusive, but her grip never get looser, and that's why I don't want lose her. Ride on 290 windows down, I get reminded to slow down. I get a message, we up now, she go down with the ball down. I'm trying to be profound, but you could get lost with me. I had to leave, we put it on hold until you were across from me again.
Still missing my lady, still smoking like crazy. Still can't believe this is all real. Still spinning per diem, still loving these hoes. Still don't really need them all. Still, my life is like a film, set in a different realm. I'm still trying to decide how I feel. I'm still rough as a rider, still right here beside you. Still trying to find a beat to kill.
still got my hoodie, you still in my car, still have my wallet still in that pocket. Hope you don't call it, pulling my car, still know your mama live right off Parker Road. Still be calling, told me she love me, still got a bunch of stills of us fucking real disgusting. Still live for something, still love a woman, still got my gun inside of the punch. Still, I'm Shakespeare, no erasure. I wrote this verse in stone. Scope the horoscope of Morris Code, still tapped in with your hoe. Smino touch the soul. I tell you when I'm in the booth. I eat it like Baba Ganoush. Baba the lanes and Baba the goose. I'm really just still in the youth.
Still missing my lane, still smoking like crazy. Still can't believe this is all real. Still spinning per diem, still loving these hoes, and still don't really need them all. Still, my life is like a film, set in a different realm. I'm still trying to decide how I feel. I'm still rough as a rider, still right here beside you. Still trying to find a beat to kill.
My mother's house, the glue that kept the family together. You know, it's not like people moved out of the city and would come back on vacation. We were always more than half an hour from the house.
Woke up the days that I'm getting it right. Been up them days and I've been up them nights. I got the plan and I didn't look twice. All for the simplest life.
The little thing matter, they show us she needed. If you could provide them, then she won't be leaving. The man in my family can't be no teachers. You learn what you see and no money can be the security for, but it's important even if you poor. Why pick a fence and a reef on the door? We from the basement, concrete's on the floor.
Concrete on the deck with a rim, I'm calling check. In a simple autumn weather, get my daughter all that's left when her father laid to rest. The money never made me, I'm more than I invest. In the morning I'm a mess, but waking up next to makes it worth it. Said I put in more effort. Said I can't be perfect, but I
woke up the days that I'm getting it right. Been up them days and I've been up them nights. I got the plan and I didn't look twice. All for the simplest life. I put the pain in the shit that I write. Take it for straight, gotta give it some time. Hop off the train at the end of the line. That was a simpler time.
Thank the sky for slowing time, shit got too complicated, yeah. Pace myself, the paper swells, I'm patient, not complacent, calm like the sea when it meets the horizon, no, yeah. No one can shake me, not even Poseidon, no, yeah. Live long and sing my song, so black and free, that's all I really want this life to be. Green trees, blossom round my seas, with green stash, with the lock and key, yeah. Wouldn't that be perfect if the world ran on fulfilled purpose and our persons worked like their purchases, filling purses of wealthy surface, kneel down and look up, filling up the place of worship, praying for days that hurt less. Someone come break the curses. Maybe that's what my worth is. Paint a new picture perfect.
Woke up the days that I'm getting it right. Yeah. Been up them days and I've been up them nights. I got the plan and I didn't look twice. All for the simplest life. I put the pain in the shit that I write. Take it for straight, gotta give it some time.
That was a simpler time.
If it's cause from the cause, it's just fire in my eyes. Sometimes I got God, but other times we feel like we won't let our guards down. That's not how to survive. Never in the cycle of life, most times we on God. Life is fighting while nobody notices. I am man to live out like the soldiers. Life is filled with answers that make no sense. Live a man or die out like
I hope the world learn to value the life of my unborn, yeah. Cause what I'ma tell them when the time get here? I'm dying from asphyxiation from the weight of the world. While in the waiting room, waiting for the birth of my girl. I'ma be a troop, trying to lead a troop of my own. You know what they do to one home, that's why I bought this here chrome. Don't need an automatic, not Paula Patton. But 2 guns, I thought about it. We called a cabin, like a rally. We drove it through the rain while my girl is in pain. It's not impossible to think that we just made a mistake. Cause to play the part of Father is a sacred art. The Tyler City made a mark upon us. I'ma say that our Father, all I can do is pray that they'll make me an example. Cause safety is something that is not here like a band tool. Just like I'm drafted and I gotta lead a family. I'm just hoping I return with all my body parts attached to me. Yeah, exactly.
life is fighting while nobody notices. I am man to live out like the soldiers. Life is filled with answers that make no sense. Live a man or die out like the soldiers.
I know I'm poor, but I don't wanna go to war. The whole mission, I'll just miss me or more. In trenches among henchmen and gore. Calling for the Lord like a slave with a sword. Watching my back like my ass getting fat. Told recruiters right before they shoot us that I can't differentiate between blue and black. So I conduct the draft and remain intact. In camouflage, I'll still be a snack, be a star in the desert. Like the Bible, like beautiful girls, I have dual suicidal. They can't shoot me, they tryna shoot they shot. Fuck a bullet in a rifle. And it's too hot, just imagine when a gun let off in the crossfire, more than one death. Scope on my curves like I'm in a sundress. Drones follow me around after sunset. I'm getting hunted.
Life is fighting while nobody notices. I am man to live out like the soldiers. Life is filled with answers that make no sense. Live a man or die out like the soldiers. Forgive me, I only meant well. Still fighting every day with myself.
All of this can go bad. Then what's the point of trying? Go bad. Then what's the point of it? All of this can go.
If I had $1 inside my fist, I'd be a rich nigga. Money that don't mean wealth, that just mean rich nigga. Look at that soul on sale, make you rich nigga. That all the time I feel. Take a loss, take a win, take a breath, take it in, take it time. Take a loss, take a win, take a breath, take it in, take it time. If I had $1 all the times I failed, I'd be a rich nigga. Money that don't mean wealth, that just mean rich nigga. Look at that soul on sale, make you rich nigga. That last time I failed. Take a loss, take a win, take a breath, take it in, take it time. Take a loss, take a win, take a breath, take it in, take it time.
Reading the words of a few good men. Childhood ways take the food out your hand. Long little gang got the crew down a man. Microscopes to the moves that you made. Enough labor without fruit. Hop about that bitch, I'm Biggie Smalls, give me the loot. They pass you the ball and you caused them to lose. It was all on you. I can't even count all the shots I missed. That Nick Anderson, you be scared to shoot. But I can't call it, it is what it is. Bro, niggas love to break shit as a kid. If I had $1 every time I did fail, nigga, I'd be rich.
If I had $1 every time I failed, I'd be a rich nigga. Money that don't mean wealth, that just mean rich nigga. Look at that soul on sale, make you rich nigga. $1 all the time I fail. If I had $1 all the times I failed, I'd be a rich nigga. Money that don't mean wealth, that just mean rich nigga. Look at that soul on sale, make you rich nigga. $1 every time I fail. Take a loss, take a win, take a breath, take it in, take it time. Take a loss, take a win, take a breath, take it in, take it time.
Hey, still with the gang, I had learned to get bands with. Remember when we played our records, the record executives press and skip messages. They couldn't download the messages, niggas just ain't had the bandwidth. Damn them. If I had $1 every time I fail, I could pay a rich nigga ransom. I could pay and make this the national anthem. I had all these bags like a Badu ballad. Now we making bags off the word salad. Had to master patience like I'm batty. Had all them L's and my brain turned to a purple haze. In the future days, looking hella clouded. Feel like an angel, God doubted. Prevailing against any I counted. I'm rich.
Today, some feelings I leave and call her, but feeling mistreated. Ay, sleep on my shit and then tell me to drop, I don't see the reason. My missus run shit like a thief, together we getting mischievous. The bottom is way lonelier than the top, but these niggas ain't seen it. Stop that, stop it please. You more concerned what others earn, that says a lot to me. I turned $1 million down 1,000,000 times, that's not a lot to me. The game is changing, I do the best that I can to attain it. If we gotta gamble, I bet on myself, all that other shit dangerous. I just made a way for myself from my west and my grandmama basement. So I think you whole niggas should bow in the presence of greatness. Let's go. Boom, 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 boom. Stop that. Stop it, please. Stop that. Stop it, please. We talking about generational wealth, the pressure I built for myself. For all of the people who picks on my grandmama's shelf, who heard her say, give me the belt. I would imagine one day call it manifestation, and man would get taken away. We wasn't planning vacation like internet bandwidth was lagging. This feel like it's back in the day. Shit is all ours like a captain would say. Treasure map is a trap and this rap is a rap till you back on the app. It's a matter of fact that you gotta protect your neck like a giraffe. While a calendar counting the days only count if it's cash. When you hit the mattress, imagine a mansion. I feel like a madman, a master in a vain living. I'm pretending I'm thankful at Thanksgiving. I just bought a change, you can't change, niggas. I see all my potential in pain dealing with the way to success and it tastes bittersweet. I mean, you far from your kin, you not one of them. To them, your light and get grim like a gremlin. It is what it is until feeling switch, and then it's boom, 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 boom. Stop that. Stop it, please. Stop that. Stop it, please.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 773345952 is not available. At the tone, please record your message.
It's your mother. Call me back when you can. Talk to you later. Hey, it's your mother. Call me when you get a chance. Talk to you later. Love y'all. Bye. Hey, you. Call your mother as soon as you can. Bye. Love you.
Yeah. I got everything I could ever need, and I try to keep that in mind anytime I meet a man trying to sell a dream. It ain't no one telling me what to sing, and the people around me got better things to do what they like. They're telling me what I should do on the rhyme. Instead of being with my family, I was in Canada, I was in Tokyo. I didn't know before. I learned as much as I love to perform at the show. It's the people close I gotta show up for. Just lost a friend to an overdose, made me question what I'm even sober for. Cause I used to think that I was scared to die, but I don't even know no more.
Look, ma, I made it, it's like we dream. Look, ma, I made it, it's make believe. You're born in a land of fancy house, and my car don't got a key. Some people I want to be proud of me, and walking the earth and that shatters me. But I learned to imagine things, so I feel it when they looking after me. My heart used to be filled with jealousy for what others had, amongst other things. And then when y'all sit in the same room, you realize they ain't what they saying. Look, ma, I made it, it's like we dream. Look, ma, I made it, it's make believe. Cause black boys on the side of town not supposed to be on the front page of the newspaper for doing greater. I spent a lot of time wondering who'll save us. It's food on the table, I'm grateful I don't give a fuck about a label. Yeah, they put a meal on the table, but my granny really put meals on the table. Yeah, two students that had each other back in the world against them, who barely showed up to class once they had each other's attention. I'm down to spend every minute that I can to her limits, cause usually she down to kick it until she get tired of niggas. Music's our common interest, we rambling about Kendrick and Kid Cudi. I'm trying to put her onto shit that she missing, but she had everything, I mean everything. I was listening, so I even gave her my tapes in hope she would try to listen. The kind of bond where it get hard not to fall in your feelings, but she talking about friendship. A similar commute, we on the same side of town, and her school close to my campus. So when I get off the bus, it's fuck it, I'm about to go down there. I've always struggled to converse if it wasn't a verse. Social anxiety, it got me stumbling on words, but I always speak my mind and shit when I'm with her. Corner store to the porch with my new thing, yeah, a new thing, yeah. We'll get lost in the world like we want it. Hey, you know me. Hey, yeah. Corner store can't afford shit with your chips. Hey, the choices. Yeah. We don't gotta mature, we're just young kids. Hey, so fuck it. I had everything I needed. Everything. Yeah, I had everything I needed. Everything. My niggas that had each other back in the world against them, from a pop
poverty-stricken parable that our hearts had written. We come from 50-cent bags of candy and penny pitching. It's like a wishing well if we gave the concrete our wishes. We dreamt so loudly we would wear it when the sun would slow up on the grayest day. We on the train in our colorful clothing. A childlike innocence we cherished it and tried to hold it. We was either asking about performances or what a hose was. My granny basement became the mecca like Eric Foreman's. The cushion in my uncle couch fell out, but we still on it. Shit, if you ever need a place to stay, you can sleep over. If not, it's back to CTA. I'll catch y'all in the morning. The green line dangerous for us, it's just how we get home. I wanted dreads, I put a brush down and I grabbed a comb. I can take you where it's rough, I mean the catacomb. All these bodies dropping, same blocks that we played tag. For some old shit, they wanted they payback. So we escape it all in the booth with the playback. Cause this the only place that we knew you were safe at. Corner store to the porch with my new thing. Yeah, a new thing. Yeah, we'll get lost in the world like we want it. Hey, you know me. Hey, yeah, corner store can't afford shit but your chips. Hey, the choices. Hey, we don't gotta mature, we're just young kids. Hey, so fuck it. I had everything I needed. Everything. Yeah, I had everything I needed. Everything. Say I had everything I needed. Everything. Cause I had everyone I needed. I put the punch in the kick instead of punching the clock. It's no wonder that this is timeless. Night spent sleeping on the floor, need a better release of cots. Since his dreams started to define him, the grind never stopped for the working class. Fuck a Birkin bag, I learned my colors, then I had to watch what color shirt I had. Like a concierge, I showed the way of our concern and past, but everybody can't come along. I come to terms with that. I ain't never been one to burn bridges or burn a bag. Ironic money turn a man into an island and a friend into a financial advisor. Take a family and divide it in America, the land of the tyrant. Still with the same niggas and that mean the women too. The only thing changed what I paid for the tennis shoe. Like Eminem on stage, 40 blue, this is living proof. Bad things come in threes, good things come in few. Yeah. Few. All the fears we have to run from, and he only wanted a few things. We went back to where we start from, not the only one. All the fears we had to run from, and he only wanted a few things. We went back to where we start from, not the only one. Niggas reppin' blocks like the taxi wars, but the thing about turf is that it never actually grows. I tried to focus on the sprouts like a grocery store, but in the hood, shit don't always go how it's supposed to go. So we adjusted like a tailor, making alterations. Altercations in the Austin neighborhood was all for paper. Groupthink sweated, it was all contagious. How we all complacent, I said fuck it, I'm all in like I was off to Vegas. The follow days, I grew my dreads like I was part Jamaican. Know the journey waiting is a lonely one, they'll call them crazy. Because believing in yourself not often celebrated. People projecting a mirror image that is merely hatred. The fear he faces is the same as me and peer adjacent. All truth, you know I don't lie. Like Shakira shaking, iridescent. People show their colors, I assume they true. Bad things come in threes, good things coming soon. Few. And he only wanted a few things. All the fears we have to run from, and he only want a few things. We went back to what we start from, not the only one. All the fears we have to run from, and he only want a few things. We went back to what we start from, not the only one.
She was cut from the cloth for South Carolina Gullah. She knew to keep the rule the right amount of color. Her old soul reminds you of somebody Abuela. It's smooth the way she dip into a mental capoeira when she's staring into your soul and you try not to let her. Now and then you might get a word, if not an operetta, where she take it upon herself to drop a acapella bout. Different rules, relatives you can't pick and choose. How they quick to get confused and to disapprove. Grown acting like they still in school, but in the grand scheme of things it all seems pretty minuscule. A cool toast to the people we adore the most. Let's hold them close like the water headed for the coast. I'm wide awoke, what I'm haunted by is more than ghosts. In suede slippers sipping the morning roast, listening to Harlan Oates. Oyster flex on the ashy wrist as I reflect on what got me this. How I'm one of Cassie kids. We from SP and we come in twos. I'm unenthused, but good things come in fused.
I tried that invincible shit, but the principle is when it's niggas defending your wig, then it's a pendulum shift. I tried to spin a little less like a minimalist, but then I could confess that this gets harder the bigger you get. The richer get rich, the poor get pissed, that's just what it is. We seen everything from the gutter to glitz. Adults in the crib telling their kids to cover their ears. Fight with a youngin' and watch their older brothers appear, like two in the front and one in the rear. The fun subsides when you gotta swallow your anger or stomach your fear. All the money you myth, this is sunk in abyss, but necessary for the family that has somewhere to live. So you stuck with making decisions more than some wouldn't get. The baggage that come with the bag, hope you not fumbling it. Marathon out of sprint like I'm honoring Nip. When comma's the common denominator, all the percent got us moving to the Pacific in hopes that it would be different. The boat we was on had physics that left some of us swimming. Don't ask about my independence, we not financially literate. Dangle $1 million when oxygen was the mission. We just wanna breathe. We've been drowning down here for centuries. Black and brown boy identity, families that depend on me. Art get turned to assembly line, every line my lineage. Glass half full, the other half was the emptiness. We turned a bunch of nothing to abundance. Few good things.
Well, first of all, man, I just want to say congratulations to you.
Thank you.
You know, Care for Me, man, it was such a masterpiece that as a huge fan of that album, I've wondered a lot of times over the last few years since you released that album, like how in the hell would you follow that album up? You know, I mean,
I wondered the same thing.
I'm sure. I mean, you know, you exhausted like so much emotion on that album, and in a lot of ways, it felt like you said everything that needed to be said. You know, so when I listened to Few Good Things for the first time, and I was seriously blown away. I didn't think that there was room to you know, not to sound cliche, but to raise the bar, so to speak. You know, but you know, you did it again, man. So congrats to you all. Congrats on this new album.
That's not to be taken light, man. I really appreciate that, because all of those are things that I felt going into the process of, you know, even starting.
Yeah.
And it made it, you know, it was like a difficult beginning. I feel like starting was the hardest part with this one.
When did that start begin?
Yeah. I don't know. I would say we maybe officially started the album sometime in 2020. But there are songs on the album that date all the way back to even before Care For Me was even out.
Really?
Like 2018. So it's been I don't know, quite a maybe like a 3-year process working on this album.
Which is very different from the last one, which I think you said it was about a 3-month process.
Yeah, very, very different.
Yeah.
And part of that is just the world, and part of that was, you know, like just navigating how to take time to make music after Care For Me came out, and we're touring and we're doing all of this stuff.
Yeah.
The culmination of things that led to the, you know, the kind of time window.
Indeed. Well, let's jump into talking about Few Good Things, because the album is so rich. You know, no pun intended, but in terms of the themes and everything. In your artist note, you describe the concept of the album as the realization of self after a search for exterior fulfillment. I'm curious, like, what did that search look like since your last album, and how did it end up leading you back to yourself?
Yeah, I think it's even broader than just the last album, but just in general. I feel like, you know, for as long as I can remember, it's like my whole kind of existence, like career-wise, and even outside of career, has been revolved around this idea of chasing something. And it's, you know, cliche as it may be, it's kind of like you're chasing something that you realize is like in you. And I think for me, you know, releasing that album, Care For Me, and just seeing everything that happened since then, and even, you know, my own realizations of, you know, how I grew to understand my own lineage, upbringing, my own relationships with people, with money, with just my own existence. It kind of just led me back to, I don't know, I feel like the very beginning of things, you know, the childhood part of adulthood, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does. I mean, it feels kind of like a full circle type of album. You know, I've also had the pleasure of seeing the short film that you all made to go with the album, which visually I think it kind of, you know, it definitely, those themes play out in it in a very like metaphorical, but also a really like literal fashion, especially by the end. But yeah, those recurring themes, man, you know, you touched on some of them, like, you know, family lineage, generational wealth, survivor's remorse, and really it feels like just the weight of success, you know, or in some ways the absence of generational wealth, especially from not only your family but the Black family in general, and a lot of systemic reasons why that is. You talk about your family losing your great grandmother's home on the west side of Chicago back in 2009 in the opening song Free Samples, and really for the rest of the album it almost feels like you're like weighing your success or your idea of success against everything that your family's lost, you know, and your community and Black folk in general. So like how has the reality that you how has that reality made you really kind of question or reevaluate what success and financial stability look like for you?
I think for me, the album serves to offer context to my understanding of success, and also my understanding of failure. But I think with, at every step, it's like new situations being introduced to which money or safetyness or some form of, familiar relationship is kind of put in jeopardy. And, since dropping Care for Me, obviously, like my life has changed substantially before and after that. And that's a difficult space to navigate, but it's especially difficult when we don't even have a glimpse of understanding of this, even at a smaller level. So for me, I think I wanted to offer context to what it just looks and feels like. And that started with, one of those lines on Free Samples kind of, in my opinion, changed the shape of the album that we were originally making and made it more of a generational like dialogue. And that's what inspired me to like talk to my grandfather, and even where I got the idea to put my grandfather on the cover, and in the film and everything. So, yeah, I think it's there to serve as a generational dialogue.
Well, what is the album that you say you all set out to make in the first place?
I don't know. I think every time we go into it, it's just like, how do we make the best, dopest, just, most fire music that we can come up with? And in this case, we already had some. Like I say, some of these songs date back to 2018. It was like we already knew we had the songs.
Okay.
But conceptually and story-wise, I think that's what makes our album special and unique. It's like, when you listen to like our work, you'll always get something more than just dope songs.
No doubt.
So I think, it's not necessarily that we set out to do something different. It's that we set out without the clear concept. Like, it's not always like right in front of you. Sometimes you got to create and you got to search for it, and then you find it, and then you're able to craft everything else around that concept.
Where was this album made? Were you all in California, in Oakland, and LA? Were you back home in Chicago? Where were you?
It was made in all three of those places.
Okay.
It's probably a couple on there that we did in Oakland. I know it's at least one we did in Oakland. I know we did, again, at least one in Chicago, and then probably the majority was done in LA.
So the album was recorded a little bit all over. What do you call home right now? I mean, obviously Chicago is always home, but where do you live? Where are you right now?
Right now I'm in LA,
okay.
But I don't know. I've been back and forth, LA, Chicago, for most of the last 2 years. But yeah, I'm here more now than I'm from Chicago.
Okay.
So I guess here, but it's like, Chicago.
Yeah. No, I kind of got that sense from listening to the album. I think early on you mentioned, Tarzana and Calabasas and the Valley and all of that stuff. I'm like, okay, he's down there playing in LA just a little bit. I'm
right,
just a little bit. Okay. How does still being an independent artist figure into a lot of what it is you're talking about, struggling with, trying to reconcile on this album around financial stability, around making it, but realizing that making it without being able to lift everybody else up might not necessarily be making it. How does that figure into all of this?
I mean, honestly, like being independent, I think it's a case by case. There's no general answer for this question. I think because it's like I couldn't name you two artists that have the same career. Like they could do everything exactly the same. It's gonna be different.
Yeah.
So one, that's just a thing to keep in mind. But two, I think it gives context to why things weigh so much. It's kind of like we set out early to be in control and to be masters of kind of our own destiny in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like everything that we're presenting, from the album to the film to the just everything around it, the artwork, it's all us. It's all authentic. It's all original.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the independence just works as context for understanding the music and the subjects that are like kind of being dissected.
Okay. I imagine that over the past, 3-4 years, you've been fighting labels off. I'm just saying,
I don't know, man. I think people would be surprised to see how much I'm doing the opposite. I'm bring them shits on, man.
Well, I think I was assuming that because I know I heard you say fuck labels at least once on the album, and yeah.
Nah, I never. I don't feel like fuck labels.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm more so fuck the current standard contract. It's not labels. Like I got friends at labels. I got people that work at labels that I really, really fuck with.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like the choice of being independent isn't so anti-industry and anti, it's not anti anything besides just anti-fuck shit. Like it's like a lot of artists are, just being taken advantage of in ways that it feels like by now we would have adopted a new standard, and I think it's happening. Artists are becoming smarter. Motherfuckers spend hell of time on YouTube. They're building understandings of their own business before going to do business with someone else. And I think that's more so what, if I had to preach any message, it would just be like, understand what you offer and understand what you are able to really, how can you know if a label is bringing you value or not if you don't even know what your own value is? So for me, that's been the ongoing project of my own independence. It's just been trying to understand what I do, what sets me apart, what I earn, understanding every aspect of my own business and splits and payouts and all of this shit before bringing somebody else in to be in control of making sure all of that shit happens. I want to have full understanding of where the money's going and where, even outside of the money, just how the business is working.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think almost from the beginning of time in hip hop, rappers have talked about how unfair the business is. But this album is obviously a lot more than just you as an artist, dealing with typical rapper success, right? I mean, this, like you said, this is a generational conversation. So what was it that happened in your own personal life? I mean, obviously we talked about your great grandmother's home going into foreclosure back in 2009. Gentrification is definitely something we see play out a lot in the short film, and this family legacy and lineage. But were there other things that helped you to be able to tie, what your reality is and what you're dealing with right now into this larger conversation and legacy around Black folks for this album?
I think for me, it's understanding that my experience is unique in some ways, but I think what's important is to try to understand the ways that it's not unique.
Hmm.
And that's something that I try to uh, kind of unpack throughout the album in the ways that it's not unique. And it's like as specific as I am with, detailing parts of my success, parts of my failures. It's like I feel like on understanding the emotion and the connection between just my own success and the people who came before me, I think it broadens the story. It makes it so it's not just about, the 20-something-year-old success story from the hood, but it takes it back to how does this connect to me and my own family, despite living a completely separate life. It's like it's still, tangible connections between what I feel like our songs are, detailing and what just the average Black person in America will, experience.
Gotcha. Well, this is probably a good time to get into the craft and the making of the album. We can bring in producers Daoud, daedaePIVOT. The three of you all made Care For Me together solely, and I know it was a very tight knit, type of thing, which I don't know. I feel like in some ways that's coming back. That's coming back in hip hop a lot, and versus the I got 20 producers on this album type of thing. But what was the process for making this one like? Was it that same sort of thing? Was it just the three of you locking in, or what was the process?
For the most part, yeah. For the most part, yeah. I mean, it was this project was a lot more open than the last one, and I think part of that is because the last project required the solitude. It required the awayness, whereas this one, it's like the three of us still, for the most part, it was like pretty similar. I mean, like to me, and my choice in working with these two guys specifically is like, I don't know, it's like if you can work with somebody who is the best in the world at something, why wouldn't you? Like, to me, I hold these dudes like in such high regard that it's like it makes it hard to, like, when I know there's stories to be told and we're honing in on an album, like I feel like while they're not handling lyrics, I feel like they are storytelling just as much as I am when it comes to how they're choosing to produce and the choices that they're making around me. So for me, it's always like, when it's time to go in and work on an album, it's like I want the album to feel like a story. And these are two gentlemen who obviously get that. So that's my take. Y'all can go ahead and say, whatever y'all feel.
Yeah, I mean, does it start with a conversation? Like, Daoud, does do the three of y'all all sit down and talk about, do you know going in what the mission is for this album, or does it come together and kind of, prove itself to you all as you go along?
I think we will have a lot of conversations about stuff like this, but obviously it changes over time. So as we go into this process, it ends up just like life, you know what I'm saying? It evolves on its own and turns into things that maybe we didn't each expect, but we know each other so well. We've been doing this together so long that we know to roll with it and see where we end up. As a producer, as an artist, a lot of the time, you don't always know where you're going to end up with certain things, but sometimes you do in certain ways too. So we end up in great places together. We end up accepting that. Here we are.
I mean, how much pressure was it though? Because like I said, Care For Me was, one of the most lauded albums of 2018. And, again, to be an independent artist in this industry and for it to make the kind of noise and reverberate the way it did. How did you all figure out how to follow that up? What did it feel like to say, hey, we're gonna sit down and put out another album? Where does your mind go? Where does the inspiration come from?
I think the best decision and the best conversation that I feel like we had is before we even started really,
definitely a lot to
honing
follow
in
that
and
up.
locking in on this album. We all had separate conversations about anti-care for me, just making the opposite of that album.
Okay.
And that's what I think allows Few Good Things to stand on its own and be unique. And once we started the process, the pressure, I feel like, lowered. Every song we make, it felt like it was less and less pressure because we knew we were making something just as great or greater, but that was completely different and completely, like completely its own thing, which was like super important, obviously.
So anti-care for me, how does that play out track to track? First off, the flows on this album are crazy. There's certain songs where it sounds like you 4 or 5 different people rapping in different voices, and it's just you. You got the joint with Crazy Bone. I know Bone Thugs has always been a really huge influence for you growing up. So what were some things that you wanted to make sure that y'all did in terms of the musicality, in terms of, flows and even in terms of storytelling and lyricism that you hadn't necessarily done before in terms of creative growth and artistic growth and whatnot? How did you approach that?
Yeah, I think the anti care for me aspect, I think is more so in the decision making. I think more than the overall sound of the album. It's in the decision and in some of the sound too as well. But it's in the decision making, like in the decision to have a bunch of features. That's something that we had never really done that in the past.
Yeah.
So it's like now, resources, time, relationship allows us to work with people that we're fans of. So, I feel like from that aspect, I created this album, Saba the fan, not necessarily Saba the artist, but just as a fan of all of these people, wanting to have that collaboration and just have that be the forefront of the album. But when I think of the decision making on the album, it's in, at every aspect. There's like hard cuts, and the outro, abandoning the outro was a thing that we had a bunch of conversations about. On Care For Me, it's like every song is like 2 songs. On this song, it's like hard cut, next track, hard cut, next track. So it's like, decisions like that. And then if y'all want to go into more of those kind of detailed like decisions that we got into, feel free. But off the top of my head, those are the 2 things that I think of.
Before Daoud said stuff, I was just saying, as a producer, decisions are everything. You're making a million decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, I don't want to speak for Daoud, but for us, like me making drum choices, I'm doing a lot of the drum programming. Daoud's doing a lot of the, musical instrument stuff. That's in my head the whole time. I'm always trying to be like, all right, let me do this. What's up with this over here? You know what I'm saying? What's up with that over there? Let me try that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So as a producer, everything is a million decisions, and to think about that.
A lot of
very important. You know what I'm saying? Daoud.
I'm gonna be God for a second, I guess. A lot of like the anti-care for me thing that I'm thinking of, especially, is in pacing and the way it's kind of like the culmination of all the choices and all those hard cuts and the features, and like the first 3 songs on Care For Me play out over the course of like 9 minutes, and after 9 minutes you're already on like track 5 or 6 on Few Good Things, and like the songs are not just like shorter in length but more like, I don't know, concise. And yeah, we didn't deliberately include lots of outros because it was more important to get like from this song to this song to this song. In my mind, that's what I was thinking about every time, because my first impulse as just like a producer and artist in general is to play. And like a lot of the best moments on this album are when we like stopped.
I think that's something that we haven't really done that much before, and that's a big difference, a big choice, that we did play with a lot of silence on this. Like, stop that. There's just a bar of silence. That's like throughout the album. There's just periods of time where you just hear nothing for a second. But I think
was
really cool.
everything going on in the world in any way weighing in or an influence, or were you all more like, let's shut out the world and get super insular and you know, and make this album? Or are you listening to your peers and what they're doing? Are you watching the news?
I can answer that really easily. I think anytime I'm making an album, it's like it becomes tunnel vision, and just like the album becomes the world. Like if I don't want there to be any clear time indicator on any album that I'm making. You know, I want you to be able to play this at any point in time and not really be able to pinpoint when the songs were created. And that's just, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but at least to just be intentional about creating. We're creating with the intention of like, we want to be held in a caliber of timeless music. You know, we don't want there to be any clear like, oh, well, all of these songs are about March 28th and all of these songs, like this is a pandemic album. Like, it's like, I don't want that to be like clear. Like, I think that's something that is just always super important to me, because I want to be able to play this in 10 years and still like it. And that's in some of the sounds. Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. The sound choices.
I feel similar with that about sounds as well.
You mentioned your grandfather,
sound choices and stuff.
And what is your relationship like with him? I know, you know, last time you had lost your grandfather. I'm assuming this is your other grandfather. Who was really influential on you musically. It really kind of got you started making music. So does this grandfather that you're talking about with this album, does he get what you do? Do you share your music with him? Have you shared this album with him? What's his response to what it is that you say this is a generational conversation? What's his response to it?
Yeah, I mean, he's featured all throughout the album and also throughout the film. And my relationship with my grandparents raised me. So my grandfather and I, you know, always been pretty close. And I think they are beginning to understand what we do and the level that we do it at. You know, they come to shows when we're in Chicago, whenever they can. And they just always been super supportive from jump, you know, from like when we were like 8, 9 years old, banging on stuff in the house and trying to record it. So it was just really cool being able to incorporate his story in subtle ways into a project like, you know, like this.
Yeah. What was pushing you toward that?
Honestly, I think it was just my own understanding of where I was at in life. It was just making me think about, you know, my like just history and understanding that what I was experiencing wasn't exclusive to me. You know, what I was feeling, the emotions that came along with just adulthood and moving and, you know, leaving certain things behind and in search of this new kind of life. Like, it's like, that's not a new concept that I invented, you know. That's something that my grandparents understand very well. Neither of them are from Chicago. Both went to Chicago and started families and careers and everything. So, you know, to me, it was really to get an understanding of where I am in life. It's like that's a direct connection to more, understanding that I have. I have the privilege and blessed to be able to just pick up a phone and call my grandparents, and I think the more the more you talk to your elders, the more you understand that what's happening isn't new. It's, like the emotional aspect of what's happening is something that has always happened in some way. So I think that's what talking to them really gets me.
Is there any part of it that's been burdensome? Because I definitely hear you on certain songs, talking about being the one that has it, and I think it's on the second song, One Way, or Every Nigga with a Budget. It's just this feeling of like everyone knowing you got the bag and the weight of that and what that means to be the person that everybody relies on monetarily or financially, and being in this new position, coming out of where you come from.
Yeah, that's really something that I wanted to talk about from jump with this album, because I know that that's a part of every success story from the hood. Damn near every Black success story in general. It's like, it comes with the weight of, like, it's such a lonely road. It's like, it's up to you to change the story for you, your friends, your family, just everybody is counting on you. And that could be, whatever the case, you know what I'm saying? Like, it don't gotta just be rap shit. Like, you could be the first athlete to make it wherever you make, it's like, it just comes with that neighborhood commitment to your success. And I think for me, it's so often that we hear artists talk about how much they have, and most of these dudes are taking care of 20 people, they're taking care of at least 10. And I just don't think we hear that part of it enough. Like, there are people who are, you paying rent for people, you getting cars for people. Like, you are the pipeline for a community at a point, like it's up to you. And I think for me, growing up where I grew up, it's like, I knew that if I were to do this and follow this path, that it would be lonely. It would be a lonely road. And that's kind of what I feel like is being introduced on a song like One Way, where it's kind of like, it's just a relationship. It's like, it's not necessarily me saying it's good or it's bad. It's just me saying this is what it is. And I'm comfortable with that because I always knew it would be this.
Well, I was going to ask you, what did this look like? What did you envision, back in 2012, for instance, when you would imagine? Because I mean, I think even to preface that question, like we're having this conversation while rappers are on Instagram right now, like battling it out on over the money challenge, spelling your name out with stacks or whatnot. So like you say, this is something in hip hop that we're good at. We're good at showing that we have things when we haven't in the past. But there's always a struggle that tends to go unseen. You mentioned on Survivor's Guilt with G Herbo, you the one paying your sister's tuition, you should be going to the meetings. So, what's been the biggest challenge in terms of juggling that kind of success, or that kind of responsibility, really, what kind of conversations are you having in real time with your family or friends or whomever it is around you that's kind of like looking at you to help everybody rise?
Yeah. I think for me it's transparency, I don't want to be I don't want to be the bank, I don't want people to have to depend on me, but what I hope to do is to just create stability for not myself, but for myself and, and the people around me. And with that stability, we use that to make decisions and everybody's able to go into the world on their own. And it's, it's early, it's challenging, but it's just being transparent. I got it when I got it and I don't when I don't. And having people understand that, because I always position myself as a last resort, because it's a million ways to get it, and I'm sure I said something about that on on one way. I guess it's a lot of different ways to get it, but I think it all comes down to the understanding of it. Like, people around me never. If I never seen, it's not that I don't understand everybody on Instagram right now doing them challenges and shit. I get it. I understand it. We never had it. So when we get it, it's only right that we, live it up, let the world see it and everything like that. It's not that I don't understand it. But I just think it's always two sides to it, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, but show the other side. Show how many people you take care of with that money. Show the type of decisions that you're making with that money to help the people around you. I think when people start seeing that, they'll understand themselves better and also understand this music and this album better.
Ultimately, it feels like this album is also about not just you getting it, but realizing that there's so much more to get than what we all out here chasing.
Yeah.
And when you talk about few good things, what are those things that you realize now maybe have more value than the world puts on them, or than in some ways than we've even put on them in the past? What are those few good things for you?
Yeah. Well, to me, this is a tough question because part of this is the point of the album, right? So the album was kind of positioned open-ended almost to to allow your own interpretation of those things throughout the album to kind of come through. But I don't know. I think a simple answer would maybe just be like, the understanding, I think, more than the chase. The chase is embedded in us from jump. We always try to figure out what the next step, what the next thing is, and then it's 3 years later and you done lost half the people you came with. And that's something that led me here. I started losing people and I started thinking differently. You kind of had to. It's kind of necessary in order to be able to continue. So for me, Few Good Things, it represents a lot of shit. But it's it's back to that opening statement that you read earlier. Like it's like that's it's the simplest way I was able to put it in language.
Yeah. Are these the kind of conversations that you have with folks that you've always collaborated with, folks in your circle, folks like No Name? I mean, I feel like I hear her to a certain extent talk about a lot of this, or the struggle to be in the industry and capitalism and her role in it. and you know, trying to make the kind of music that she makes. So
Yeah.
many of the artists that you mess with are independent too.
Yeah. The answer to that
how does it?
is yes and no. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, we do on occasion have like really deep, you know what I'm saying, like kind of conversations like this, you know, about tangibles and, you know, like just there. But also we talking about all type of regular shit, cartoons and Cardi B and all type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
you know, I feel like more often than not, it's just usually chill shit. But yeah, we do, just talk also about real shit because we all come from it and we've all experienced it on a very visual level where we're able to see the effects that money has. We're able to see the effects that being in the hood has. We're able to see the effects of like certain parenting and all type of shit. So a lot of shit be coming up. And I don't know, I would say with No Name specifically, is ain't no telling what you're gonna end up in a conversation with her about, to be honest. So,
Yeah. Are you and I don't think this is I don't think I'm giving away anything by saying this, but are you considering trying to buy back your great grandmother's home? Is that like a conclusion that you come to from this kind of like meditation on family lineage and loss and that kind of stuff and value?
I think what's important to this story is to continue the story and realizing that the story don't stop at grandma's house. It's now it's cousin house, it's my house, it's brother house, it's all of the avenues kind of lead to the same road. Or I might have said that backwards, but if it's in my cards, if it's in my account rather, you know what I'm saying? One day maybe, I would love to, but something like that would pretty much be that would be a damn, I'm having what is it? Daoud, help me out here. What is it called when you get someone sentimental? Boom, there it is. Sentimental. That would be a sentimental purchase. I don't think that would be like a smart business. But hopefully one day I could do something like that. It might not be that exactly. So
yeah. Well, Saba, thank you, man. Thank you for talking about the album with us for a little while. Thank you for letting us listen to this album. I feel very safe in saying that it's going to definitely be an album of the year contender, just like the last one. I think we're going to be talking about this album for the rest of the year, and we appreciate the work that Daoud, the daedaePIVOT, that you all put into it, and I do feel like it's one of these albums that we got to spend time with and keep grappling with, because you're right, it is open-ended and it is a conversation. And I look forward to seeing how you're gonna take it out on the road and do all that kind of stuff, man. We definitely support you here at NPR Music and appreciate you letting us preview it, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Any parting words, before we go?
I mean, this man's talking about us being, the best at what we do. This dude is the best at what he does. So it's only right. You know what I mean?
It's great as a producer to be able to work with someone who you're genuinely a fan of. He's an amazing rapper and artist and producer and friend and person.
And only mildly sentimental.
Right.
Yeah.
Sentimental, man. That word kicked my ass today.
Well, thanks again. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, everybody watching and listening. Hopefully we'll be able to be in the chat room and answer any questions that you all have. And man, go out and bump this album. Not that you need encouragement after hearing it one time, but it's definitely gonna stick to your ribs and some. So we appreciate it.
Thank you.